So the key word here is overwhelmed. Now, when you believe you are a small person inside a skin line that has a brain, from that perspective, thoughts can become overwhelming. But you've preset the conditions by establishing yourself as not, we've all done this, it's not you particularly, as an individual person who's going around in a very fragile physical state and emotional state and can be overwhelmed by things. But when you start to practice actual meditation, meditation as the great endless awareness, meditation as the knower of the known, meditation as the all-encompassing monarch of experience consciousness, then there's no capacity for you to be overwhelmed. Like the ocean cannot be overwhelmed by a tsunami. Only the shore can. There's actually a song I wrote about this, and it was when I used to have addiction issues. And the second verse says, "Tsunami at sea, I am the shore." Right? No man can survive, no land can survive, something like that. So what it's basically saying is that when you think you're the shore, every wave is just continuously annoying, and you know there's a tsunami out there. So when you know you're the ocean, you can't be disturbed. So for you, when this happens, just wherever, if you have the capacity, just stop and just say, I'm allowed to feel these feelings. I'm allowed to think these thoughts. And as soon as you've done that, this word allow is so powerful because it puts you in the seat of awareness, because awareness is always allowing. That's the only reason I use that. You become the allower, and suddenly it's okay. You feel overwhelmed, okay. You're thinking a lot, okay. And by doing this repeatedly, what you start to do is very subtly, you train your separate self to realize it's always been supported as awareness, right? When was the last time you was overwhelmed with thoughts?
Well, I really don't know because I am training, as you said, I am trying to recognize
Yeah.
in order to not be overwhelmed by thoughts.
Well,
I
the
try
reason
to
I
be, vigilant and alert as much as I can. So I'm less and less overwhelmed by thoughts, but often I see that there's there's a thought that, oh, I'm still engaged in thought, and immediately, of course, I'm not anymore engaged in thought. I mean,
that's the thing, that thought is perfect as it is.
yes, that's right.
And it's the thought that is so this is the two states that you I'm going to be very not completely accurate, but just demonstrative. There's one state you experience where I'm present, and there's another one which says that, oh, I'm engaging in thoughts. Everything else is the same. Absolutely everything else is the same, but there's one thought that appears that says it's not. I hope my internet connection is good enough for this, but you might have frozen there. Maybe you can still hear me. Um, so I sometimes share that the difference between being that this is quite controversial in a way, but the difference between being awake and not being awake is the thought that you're not awake. And that causes so much tension. The same as I'm not aware or I'm not present. These are just, they're so small. It's such a small, like, it's so, that idea is so tiny compared to the vastness of what you are. It's like the one I tell about the ocean and the beach. So the beach and the sand. That the camera is very close up over a grain of sand. And the grain of sand is saying, I'm not the beach, I'm not a beach, I'm not a beach. And the camera's just pulling up. And you get to see it is a beach. This is the same with us humans. We're going around saying, this way of thinking's a problem, that way of thinking. It's such a massive ego to think that some words that we say that can't even be understood by most of the population of the planet, especially if you speak not in English, right? No one even knows what it means. It's blub the blub the blub. And we think that's going to define the universe, already awake, already accomplished, supremely intelligent, vivid, never crystallizing, always moving, changing, alive, made of love. That's not going to be affected by the utterings of a walking monkey. We just don't need to buy into it unless we actually want to about a particular thing.
So
Right?
is it a matter of conviction? I mean, if I still have some belief in this thought, is it because I'm not totally convinced that?
Yes, 100%. You hit the nail on the head. I keep quoting some of my works, which I never seem to publish. I wrote a poem called "Conviction Dawns," because this is the practice is to support the dawning of your own conviction. And how it happens is a thought appears that says, I'm not present. And you decide, I'm not going to go with that. I'm going to just allow it. And before you know it, you're back to eating some rice. And then you go, wait, nothing happened. It appeared, it abided, it subsided, and absolutely nothing happened. So you start to realize these hooks, they become muted. They no longer capture you. And suddenly a cascade of freedom appears. Because once you let some hooks go, they all collapse. They just collapse. And it's much more challenging to be lost into these situations. And then what happens is you start to have a more practical approach to life. I'll give you an example. I was out today with my partner. We was walking around a shopping center and it was so busy, right? And we was going to eat there. And we looked at each other and we just said, because we were both feeling very overwhelmed by so many people being in this place. But it's not an overwhelmed where you succumb to it. It's more like, should we go somewhere else? But I know it sounds silly, but it's like there's no drama. You just leave. So your whole life becomes a lot easier to manage because you're still going to have moments where you feel overwhelmed. You're still going to have things you don't like and do like. But because you've trained yourself to see their inherently empty nature, the drama falls away from your life activities and you're able to conduct yourself in a way that's just very, very easeful. Now, you may be looking for an even more deeper experience out of like one of total freedom or experience. That's also available. You know, it becomes practically easy, and you start to see. When I say things like you become it, you do, but it's more like you start to inhabit what you truly are by acknowledging it. You start to acknowledge in your activities what you truly are. It becomes a behavioral acknowledgement rather than I'm awake. It just starts to become more gentle in all of your life. So for you, it begins with yourself. Your own, that thought, I'm not present, is like the separate self keep giving It's a new lease of life. Just, okay, thank you for letting me know. Good. I'm not present. Cool story, bro.